We talk about American slavery, there's always somebody who feels the need to say, the Irish were slaves too. And that is where the conversation goes wrong. Because while Irish people experienced indentured servitude, they were not chattel slaves. And those two systems are not the same. Not morally, not legally, not historically. Indentured servitude was temporary. Chattel slavery was permanent. Indentured servitude signed contracts often under economic pressure, deception, or punishment. Those contracts typically lasted 4 to 7 years. At the end of that term, the person was legally free. They could own land. They could marry freely. They could pass property to their children. Their children were born free. Chattel slavery was for life. Black people were not considered human beings under the law. They were property. They could be bought, sold, insured, raped, bred, beaten, or killed with little to no legal consequence. And most importantly, their children inherited their enslaved status, generation after generation. That is the distinction. Now let's talk about race, because race is not ancient. Race was constructed. Early in the colonial period, poor Europeans, including Irish indentured servants and enslaved Africans, worked alongside each other. And yes, slave owners were terrified of unity. They were afraid that poor whites and enslaved blacks would realize that they had more in common with each other than with the ruling class. So the system adapted. Laws were created to divide people permanently, not by class, but by race. This is where whiteness was birthed. Irish people were not always considered white. They were viewed as inferior, uncivilized, and expendable. But over time, they were granted conditional access to whiteness. Not equality with the ruling class, but superiority over black people. And that mattered. Because even when Irish indentured servants were mistreated, they still had a path out. They could eventually become free. They could assimilate. They could gain legal rights. They could vote. They could own land. They could become overseers, police, or enforcers of the system. Black people could not. That hierarchy alone created incentive. Now let's address another lie that always gets thrown out. Your own people sold you. Africans did not sell their people in the way that this is framed today. Africa was not a single country. These were tribal conflicts, wars, and captures, just like wars in Europe. No one understood that the people being taken were being sold into a permanent hereditary system of racialized slavery across the ocean. There was no concept of chattel slavery as it would exist in the Americas. And even if there were African intermediaries, that does not absolve the system that created, expanded, codified, and profited from the most brutal form of slavery the modern world has ever known. Chattel slavery was unique because it was racial. It was permanent. It was inheritable. It was legally protected, and it was designed to extract labor while stripping identity, lineage, culture, and humanity. So when people try to equate struggles, what they're really doing is minimizing the truth. You can acknowledge that other groups suffered without erasing what made Black American slavery distinct. Now drop a black fist in the comments and share this with someone